The Walking Dead has mercilessly killed off many of our favorite characters along the course of the show. However, nothing compares to the heartbreak fans went through when the legendary main character, Glenn Rhee, met his end. In what was one of the most devastating deaths in the show's history, the character may have left the show, but not the hearts of fans. The show had a Glenn callback in the most recent season, refreshing the wound left behind by his absence. Let's talk more about that in today's video. First off, let's look back at how the character met his untimely death. Rhee's death was deeply felt. The show was never the same after he was brutally killed off in the Season 7 premiere titled, "The Day Will Come When You Won't Be." The group was on its way to get help for Maggie, Lauren Cohan, when their path was cut off by Negan, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and the Saviors. The leader of the gang, Negan, was angry at the fact that his men, who were positioned at the satellite outpost, were killed by Rick Grimes and his friends, and he did not plan on letting them go until he had exactly the same revenge. As he continued to torment the group, he playfully kicked about the idea of who he should finish off. With Lucille at his side and a baseball bat, which mind you was his choice of murder weapon, he decided on poor Abraham Ford. His tyranny would have been over by then, if Daryl would have stayed quiet. Negan had warned everyone to stay put and keep their mouths shut, or else he would take someone else's life next. Daryl's outburst prompted him to choose Glenn as his next victim. It was a horrific death, with him repeatedly hitting Glenn with his bat till his head was completely smashed in. There's pretty much nothing that could make this worse, except the fact that his pregnant wife Maggie had to watch as he beat the life out of her husband. How traumatic is that? It was a pretty gruesome scene to watch, and we were devastated by the brutality of it. But that's one of the things this show is infamous for. If there's one thing for certain, it's that we've got an immeasurable amount of hatred for Negan and his cronies after this grisly stunt that they've pulled. Moving on, let's discuss how he was mentioned in the latest season. In Season 11, a group consisting of Daryl, Gabriel, Alden, and Negan was led by Maggie on a quest to search for more food. On their way, they bump into an aggressive militia known as the Reapers, with Daryl's ex-lover Leah being one of the high-ranking members of the gang. Due to things going south between them and the Reapers getting annihilated, Leah is hungry for revenge. To save Maggie from dying, Daryl is forced to kill Leah. While escaping from the Commonwealth troops, Maggie sympathizes with Daryl and apologizes for having put him in a situation that led him to kill his former love interest. However, Daryl puts a stop to it, saying that she doesn't even need to say sorry to him as Glenn would have wanted him to take care of her. This just shows how unwavering their bond is and how Glenn's memory still holds strong. The director, Greg Nicotero, revealed that bringing up Glenn was Reedus' idea. Reedus clarified further, saying that he felt like the two really needed a moment to talk about Glenn since his death. Next up, the million-dollar question: will Maggie ever befriend Negan? There's a pretty easy answer to this. Would you ever even come close to becoming friends with your lover's killer? Probably not. Even if the guy had changed and turned into a better human? Yeah, this isn't really one of those actions you can just forgive and forget about and move on. That's exactly the case Maggie's making. She has trouble accepting him after she returns home after a couple of years away, just to find out he's part of the community now. The tension between them was at its height, especially with Maggie's understandable need for revenge. However, in acts of God, she's forced to trust him when he was her best option during a situation, leading her to soften the knot in her heart towards him. This does not mean in any way that they're going to form a blossoming friendship anytime soon. In the rotten core, Negan saved Maggie's son Herschel after he was captured by the Commonwealth soldiers. That led her to start trusting him a bit, and she even asked him and his wife to look after Herschel while she fought the Commonwealth deputy and the Reaper who had joined hands in order to get rid of her. Negan assured Maggie that he had her and Herschel's back, which he did, as he took care of her son while she took care of the situation, which led to Hilltop and Oceanside falling under Hornsby's rule and Leah's death. Lauren Cohan, who plays Maggie, reassures us that this still doesn't mean that the two characters could ever be friends. They were just trying to make the best out of the situation at hand and somehow learn to work with each other. Lastly, what does their rocky relationship mean for the future? Their pre-existing conflict makes for an exciting storyline to go off in their upcoming spin-off series Isle of the Dead. The series will showcase Maggie and Negan exploring a place the Walking Dead series hasn't visited yet, post-apocalyptic New York. This 6-episode series will start making episodes later this year, getting ready for its debut in 2023. It'll be here just in time so fans can just finish off the Walking Dead series and get right into this new one. We're already brimming with excitement to see how the two will manage to work together despite the grudges between them. Do you think Maggie should move on and have faith in Negan's new and improved personality? Let us know down below. below. Next, in other news, why Negan and Maggie aren't ready to leave The Walking Dead yet. It's hard to believe The Walking Dead is finally drawing to a close. The 11-season show has been enormously popular since its release, and we've grown quite fond of the stars and the show alike, no matter how gruesome. It seems like the actors themselves aren't yet ready to let go of it either. According to AMC, the mainstay actors Cohan and Morgan have already signed on to lead The Walking Dead: Dead City. This is a new mini spin-off series that continues the same theme as the main show, following the characters as they try to navigate a post-apocalyptic Manhattan. The show has yet to release its last 7 episodes, but it seems like the actors want to ensure they get to spend more time on the set they worked on for so long. It's totally understandable how it clearly isn't easy for them to move on yet. Next up, The Walking Dead's Norman Reedus reveals spin-off's official title. The actor Norman Reedus took to Twitter to announce the name of the new series, which shall be called Daryl Dixon. That's fitting, to say the least. The Walking Dead is reaching its end after a solid 11 seasons, and is split up into several spin-offs along the way, including Fear the Walking Dead, which began in 2015, and The Walking Dead World Beyond in 2020. With the finale scheduled to be released on November 20th, several other projects have been announced to keep the apocalyptic streak going. One of them will star Daryl and his time spent in Europe. Fans have been wondering whether he'll be the only character the series will be centered on, with McBride, Carol having stepped back from the show due to issues with the location and time period of the shooting. However, this doesn't determine that she won't make an appearance at all. We'll just have to wait and see. Daryl Dixon is set to premiere in 2023, after the release of the final episode of The Walking Dead. The end of an era, but the beginning of a new one for sure. Finishing off, Norman Reedus has already booked his first major role following the conclusion of The Walking Dead. The 53-year-old actor who played Daryl Dixon in The Walking Dead already has a new role to look forward to following the end of the series. The star has signed on to The Bike Riders, which will be directed by Jeff Nichols. The cast includes some of our favorites, including Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, Tom Hardy, Michael Shannon, Boyd Holbrook, and Damon Harriman. It's inspired by the 1967 book by the photographer Danny Lyon. However, Jeff's vision will lead the film to a slightly different version of it. It will mainly focus on a motorcycle club founded in the 1960s that started out as a fun hobby and a way to connect with friends. But as time goes by, it changes into something much more dangerous and mysterious, and the foundation on which it was built starts to fall apart. Reedus is undoubtedly familiar with the role and fits it well since he's well versed in the world of motorcycles, due to his time in The Walking Dead. Besides that, he's a motorcycle enthusiast himself, and his interest even led him to star in a 5-season series titled Ride with Norman Reedus, which featured him and friends riding all over the world while telling stories and exploring new places. It looks like the actor found the perfect role to play, and we can't wait to see what he makes of it. That's it for today. What are your predictions for the upcoming season finale? Do you think the writers will decide to kill one last character before calling it quits? Let us know down below. Make sure to like and subscribe so you're always updated with the latest news. Till next time.